Adventure of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
Boo Boo, you got to be quiet, dude. You want him in there?
That's the drummer.
So whenever you guys want to go.
All right, I can edit, so don't worry about it. What do you need?
Oh, shit!
She's in the
You want
kitchen.
some glasses?
No, thank you.
These are too cool.
Hi, Boo.
I got some crazy pills.
Oh, thanks. Well, fucking rock star with the glasses.
I'm
Let me
in
make
trouble.
sure you guys okay?
Going, Chris.
Ready?
Now we're ready. Hey, Holmes, what's up? All right. Hey, Holmes.
I just woke up.
All right.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Josey Scott and Tommy Skeoch and Chris Holmes and Brian We are Terminal, and we're working on a brand new record for you guys. Come check us out on the road. We will see you guys very, very soon. Much love. Won't somebody please help me get up over my knees? Can't you see I'm in need? Oh, please, this is making me bleed. I'm taking crazy pills. I'm taking crazy pills. Watch out!
This is the Pipeman here on the Adventures of Pipeman, W4CY Radio, and I'm very excited because we have a new band with some new music coming out, and man, I can't wait. So let's welcome to the show, Josey and Brian. How are you?
Hey, man, how are you?
I'm doing great, and I was really excited when I saw the press release for this because I was just doing coverage at Hell's Heroes a couple weeks ago, and I saw my old friend who I haven't seen in over 40 years, Chris Holmes. Back in the Hollywood days, we would hang out at the mall together, and so it was really cool. Like right after I got back, I saw this press release that you guys are all forming this new band, Terminal, and man, that's so exciting. I want to know the story of how this happened.
Well, how it happened was it started when I ran into Chris. I met Chris a long time ago when he was in W.A.S.P. and Tessa played L.A., I think the first time with Def Leppard. And Chris came to the show. And I don't remember much about seeing him or whatever. He was, in his full Chris Holmes back then. And fast forward to about 3 years ago, 3 years ago, his documentary came out on Amazon, Mean Man. And a friend of mine called me and said, hey, you got to watch this. And I said, what is it? And he says, it's the guy from W.A.S.P. And I thought it was about Blackie. And he went, no, it's the guitar player, Chris Holmes. I said, oh, I met that guy. And I'd ran into him. Frank had ran into him when we played Hellfest in France a couple years ago. But I saw you there.
I saw you there, by the way.
Yeah, I didn't talk to Chris that day, but Frank did. So I went to this Monsters of Rock cruise that Tessa plays on, and Chris was playing on it. And the first year I was supposed to see him, he had got the throat cancer, so he canceled.
Yeah.
The next year I was on there selling my art, but I wasn't playing. And he was playing, so I went up to his wife or him, whoever it was him and Sarah, but I didn't know who it was. And I said, hey, I'm Brian from Tessa. I'd like to say hello to Chris. And he came over and we started talking, and I said, cool, I saw your thing. I just wanted to say hi. And, I remember meeting you. And he's like, cool. So then we got on the boat the next day, and he's like, hey, dude, I ran into him. Let's have lunch together. They got tacos. I can't get tacos in France. I mean, you know how Chris is, right? Chris is a large personality. And I said, great. So we're sitting there in the buffet and he's eating tacos and we're talking about just life and being in a band and, this, that, and the other. And after I was listening to him for a while and I said, Chris, I got a question for you. All these years you were in W.A.S.P, you're a famous guy. I mean, to me, he's like the Keith Richards of heavy metal.
That's a great description.
And how come you never joined another band or, started another band or got it? He said, well, no one ever wanted to be in a band with me. And I said, wow, okay, well, I'll be in a band with you.
Nice.
And he said, okay. So he lives in France and I live in New York, upstate New York. And I also have a place in Italy, which is close to his place in France. I said, listen, I'm going to be in Italy next month. Why don't you come up to my farm and we'll see if we can put some songs together. Because, it's one thing to say you can be in a band together. Or let's make a band. And that worked great. We wrote like 3 songs and we hit it off. And, I love the guy. I have like instant kinship with the guy. So when that happened and I decided that me and Chris were going to do something together, then it's like, well, okay, if we're going to have a band, we got to have a singer and another guitar player and a drummer. So I said, hey, who would be a great second guitarist, another guitarist, is my old friend Tommy Skeoch, who was in Tesla. Me and him have reconnected, and I love him and I miss working with him. And what do you think about that? He said, well, okay, that'd be cool. I mean, if we can get along. So then me and Tommy got together, right? And we hadn't written songs since we had written songs in Tesla, but that was like riding a bike. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
We ain't misstep. So me and him were fine. And then I said, Tom, would you be into playing with me and Chris? And he said, yeah, sure. So then I had to get those 2 together. And then the 3 of us got together and we put together a bunch of music. And once I knew Tom and Chris got along and me and Tom and Chris, and it's like, okay, I know the perfect singer for this band. And the perfect singer was Josey, right? Who I'd met when Your Disease came out. And I was listening to that on the radio, and Tesla had just gotten back together after being apart for 5 years. And I went up to his tour manager and said, hey, I'd like to meet the guys in that band. I really like that song. And he took me in the dressing room, and Josey was there, and he's like, hey, man, how you doing? Yeah, Brian, I saw you at Mud Island when I was a kid. And I loved Josey from that day. He was just the most nicest, sweetest, coolest guy. And I loved like his look and all the tattoos and the bling and all that stuff, right? I'm like, hey, man, what's with all that stuff? And he's like, hey, man, I'm from Memphis, man. Elvis Presley, king. So then I called Josey and said, hey, Josey, I'm putting together the band with Tommy Skeoch and Chris Holmes. Would you be interested? And he said, well, yeah, I would. I said, well, let me send you some music, because for all he knew, it could have been terrible. And I sent him some, and he said, yeah, I can dig this. I said, well, cool. So then it was getting, Josey, he came and worked with me for a couple of days, and we put together some songs on those songs, right? Then those guys heard it, Tommy and Chris, and they were like, fuck, he's amazing. This is perfect. So then it was like, okay, Josey, come, let's see if all 4 of us can get together and dig each other. And we did, and that's it, man. That's the story of how we got together.
That is key, that you have to get along. And I was watching the video of your, introducing the band. And I was like, yeah, that's so Chris. He was like making fun of with the sunglasses and stuff. And it was like, you could see the camaraderie there. And that is so key in any band for sure, as you guys well know, so that's way cool. And then when I saw him a couple weeks ago, I'm like, hey, what's going on? Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah, I'm old now. I can't do what I used to, like he used to back in the day. He would run full speed into his Marshall stack and knock it all over while he's in the middle of a solo. And I watched him play. I'm like, holy shit. He still is like, oh my God. He was all over the place. He was saying
he's a fireball.
Yeah, he was making to me like before the gig, I'm lucky if I could walk up to the stage at this age. But then he was just like, as soon as this show started, he was everywhere. It was flashbacks of the early 80s for sure. So now combining all of you together in one band, oh my God, like that's like, I don't know, that's going to be the firestorm of 2026, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, I hope so.
There you go. There you go. So when can we see some of this new music?
Well, right now we're in the writing process. Josey's just now getting ready to go out and play some Saliva dates. Or that's right. He can't call it Saliva, right? No, but he is Saliva.
No doubt.
Yeah, I mean, click, click, boom, your disease, always, superstar, ladies and gentlemen. Those are all Josey Scott songs from the band he started in his garage. So
100%. 100%.
yeah, but anyways, go see Josey Scott, the man who started Saliva, created it. Him and Wayne. Wayne's no longer with us, but Josey's out there and singing the songs better than he's ever sang them. So he's doing that. I've got some work with Tesla. Obviously, I got this Tesla Motley Crue tour this summer.
Yeah.
Chris is taking care of some personal issues in Paris. But, we're getting together again in a couple weeks, me, Tommy, and Josey. So it's kind of an ongoing process. I would say realistically, by the end of the year, we should have a single out.
I was going to say by Christmas.
What we're going to do. I mean, people are calling me. Someone called me yesterday. Said, "Hey, when can Terminal come and play?" And like, soon.
I love it.
Yeah, but right now, we got things we're doing. So, it's the beauty of this thing is that we all of us have other things that we do, but we connect in the Terminal, and the Terminal is me, Josey, Tommy, and Chris. We get together, and that's where the magic happens.
So how would, for the listeners, how would you describe how Terminal music is going to be? Because, all three great bands, W.A.S.P, Tesla, Saliva, but very different too in a lot of ways, similar in a lot of ways, but very different. So how are all those influences? What is that going to create?
Josey?
You'd be surprised how well we have gelled together in the studio. I think the natural Tesla sound that Brian and Tommy have lends itself perfectly to what Chris does with his, sexy 80s go-go dancer type guitar riffs. And then, I just come in and lay down, what I like Brian says, this is what I do. You know what I mean? This is all I know how to do, is come in and sing my heart. You know what I mean? Write about whatever's going on around us. I've written some songs about the different characters that I'm in a band with in Terminal, and I've written some things about life and about heartbreak. God knows we've all been through enough heartbreak for 10 albums and 10 lifetimes.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just something, because like the end of the day, you can want to be in a band all you want to, and it not gel or not come together, and this is surprisingly just really gelled and come together perfectly in this pot of stew that we're making that's Terminal. I think people are going to be really surprised.
I mean,
I don't want to give it away.
Right.
There's more I'd like to say on it, but I would want you to hear it first.
Let me elaborate a little bit on that. the funny thing is you say, you know, I'll tell you what it doesn't sound like. It doesn't sound like Tesla. It doesn't sound like W.A.S.P. And Josey, like any band, right? Like the voice of Tesla's Jeff Keith, the voice of Saliva is Josey Scott, right? The voice of W.A.S.P. was Blackie. It doesn't sound like Tesla or W.A.S.P. And it doesn't sound like Saliva outside of its Josey singing.
Yeah.
So I will say it's got a modern rock sound to it, right? We don't want to give too much away, like Josey says, but if you're expecting to hear like, you know, oh, that reminds me of Tesla, it doesn't have that sound.
I'm glad about that because it should sound
there's
different.
already a Tesla.
Right, exactly.
Right, and there's already a W.A.S.P. There's already Josey Scott, Saliva, right? But what this is all those guys coming together with everything they know and everything they grew up and everything they were inspired by and putting it together. And that's why it's called Terminal, you know, because what happens in a terminal?
Yeah.
Right, an airport terminal. You got people coming and going from all different places all over the world. And they all meet at the terminal to go somewhere else on a journey. And this is a journey. I scratch in my arm because I'm not a junkie. I have the terminal tattoo, and it's
oh really,
motherfucker.
Oh, I can't see it here. Is it
there
on
it
your?
Is.
Nice.
Right there, and it's itching. So I don't want you to think I'm like, oh, hey man, right? And you got it in back of you. I see that. Nice move.
There you go.
I got mine too. Mine's itching. Mine's itching a little bit too.
Yeah, there's Josey.
It's got an itch on the neck like that, right?
Ooh,
Does that itch
Chris's
like a?
is on his back, and I don't think he can reach it. And Tommy's is on his hand right here. But you know, I think people are going to be surprised because I don't think it's going to be what. You know, on paper, it always appears to be one thing, right? You put a list on paper and you go, okay. But this is it's different because, like I said, it's not what you would expect.
Right. And that's why I said what I did, too, about coming from the different bands, because it's not like you had 3 of the exact same type of band coming together, you know?
Right. No. And even in Tesla, me and Tommy were both from different places. Like Tommy had the real heavy, you know, stuff, and I would write, you know, the more pop song, like Call It What You Want or Paradise or, you know, something like that, where he would write Heaven's Trail or something. So that was a combination. So you take that element of Tom, he's into newer heavy music, and I listen to, you know, Miley Cyrus. I listen to, you know, pop music. I listen to the beat. I come from all, you know what I mean? So we just take all these influences, and no one's got any egos or there's no bullshit like that to deal with. And we all contribute, and we try to make the best song, because Josey will tell you, what about songs, Josey?
The song is the king.
That's it. So it's about the songs, but you will hear this guitar army of Tommy Skeoch and Chris Holmes. That's there, man. And they work so well together. And you want to hear Josey Scott, you're going to hear Josey Scott as you want to hear Josey Scott, right? And, you know, I do what I do, man. I'm that guy that plays that bass thing.
And he's a monster bass player in the studio.
No, stop it. I only know 4 notes, but I play the fuck out of them 4 notes.
Come on, all these years you must have learned
I know 5.
The 5th note, right?
4 or 5. You know, I never play the high string. It's a waste.
Well, I do have to say that I'm gonna pick a bone. She'll listen as a laugh, but I'm gonna pick a bone with Shauna because she should have in the press release called you guys a super group, because like there's all these bands coming out that are super groups. I'm like, yeah, that's not a super group. Yeah, but then I see you guys and I'm like, that's a super group.
That's for someone like you to say.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
If we said that, people would think we're arrogant. And that was
for
never
sure
the case. It wasn't like, hey, I want to make a super group. it happened for me. I mean, I guess I'm the catalyst because I ran into Chris, and then I just thought, well, I play in this great band, Tesla. I mean, listen, we've done okay.
A
And
little bit.
those are my brothers, right? But then I have my other friends that are my brothers and that I see and I talk to when I'm not in Tesla. So for me, that was the thing. It's like I I told Josey, like, I always envisioned doing something with him from the day I met him. Like, we just connected. Like, we've stayed in touch for 20 years. And, you know, even though he was off doing something or I was off and he got on the trip over here, and we always managed to always connect every once in a while. Hey, man, how you doing? How's it going? Hey, man, hey, I wish I'd seen you, man. I love that song. Hey, that was great. And, with Tommy, we've had a bit of a rougher time because, listen, talk about heartbreak. I mean, I started in the garage with Frank and Tommy even before Jeff Keith. Oh, no, Jeff Keith came. But truthfully, Tommy came before, but he wouldn't join us because we weren't cool enough. And then once we got Jeff, then finally he joined our band. But the four of us, in Tesla were always, the four of us, me, Frank, Tommy, and Jeff, were always on the same page. So when, Tom left and, it's been pretty documented what his issues were, out of, heartbreak and hurt and pride and ego and shit, we both kind of attacked each other. And, but once we ran into each other after 17 years, all that shit just melted away. And then it's like maybe there was 5% of bad shit, right? At that point, I just remembered all the 95% of good shit. And when I want to work with my brother again, I want to, he can't come back to Tesla right now, even though that's a whole nother topic that one day when Tesla does a final lap, I've said it, I'll say it again here. I want Tommy Skeoch back. I want Troy Luccketta back. I want Dave Rude there. Dave Rude's not going anywhere. We'll have 3 guitar players. I'm trying to put that all together. When there's one lap, I don't know when that one lap is. When it is, I'll let you know. But with Terminal, it's like these are all my buddies. You know what I mean? And
it's got to be exciting too. Like
in a band with people you like.
And it's got to be exciting and new and fresh. When you guys have been doing it as long as you've been doing it, sometimes you need that new freshness, like when you were teenagers first getting into music.
Yeah, it's totally been like that too. It's been, it reminds me of the whole reason I started doing this in the first place. And the best, most fun moments are always when the band first starts.
Yeah.
Before, not to speak of this band, but I can only speak from my experience with Saliva and my band before Saliva, Blackbone. Before lawyers get involved and managers get involved and all these different entities.
Fame and money and chicks and drugs. And then you become jaded. And, like with Tesla, we had to break up to find each other again.
Right.
I'm so glad we did because we're closer than we've ever been. So
that's killer.
Yeah. So I get it.
Yeah, I love that. And, like it is true because, back in the 80s, I remember watching what the Outsiders would do to all these LA bands. And like, it wasn't the band members that were like going to fall apart. It was those outside forces making the band members at war with each other.
Right.
So I love hearing how much you guys are just having fun, connected. That's the way music should be. And like, you can tell, like when you go to a show, you can tell if the band is up there, just dialing it in, or if they're truly like brothers and having fun.
Right.
Yeah. Josey reminds me a lot of Jeff Keith. Josey's from Memphis. Jeff Keith was from Oklahoma. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the key word you just says like, LA and how they put all those bands together in LA and all the lawyers and sharks and record company people.
Oh my God.
this is organic,
Right.
Yeah.
right? And I think we all come from different backgrounds, and we can all connect, and on so many levels. It's kind of corny, but it's true. You know,
And Chris gets a bad rap because he's one of the nicest guys.
he's one
So
of the
sweet.
sweetest, kindest hearted, misunderstood. He reminds me of Yosemite Sam.
That's such a great description too.
If I'm
Oh my
Snipey
God.
Smith, Chris is Yosemite Sam.
Oh my God, that is the greatest description right there.
I love Chris. I just talked to him an hour ago. So
I love Chris too.
yeah, he
Sweetheart.
is misunderstood.
Oh, totally. And like, I mean, I'm gonna say it, but that other dude that starts with B had an ego bigger than anybody, and I thought,
well, that seems to go around, right? I mean, you know, I mean, like I said, we can all relate to that. I think every one of us may have something like that. Somebody that, you know, is kind of little out of order in our world.
yeah.
You know, Josey, I'm sure he has one.
You know, pride goeth before the fall.
So
In life, you got to do the right thing, man. You got to do the right thing in life.
and I think that's how you last in the music business, to be honest, is like set aside all the bullshit. And like, to me, the true musicians that last, they're not out there to be rock stars. They're out there to be musicians. Big
100%.
difference.
Yeah.
Big difference.
And if you happen to be a rock star because people, you know, see you as a rock star, okay, great. But I mean, you know, for us, you got to be a good person.
Right.
Totally.
You know, and the guys in Terminal are all good guys. The guys in Tesla are all good guys. You know, I can't speak for Josey's previous band or whatever. There's the band that's out there now calling themselves Saliva.
I hate all that crap, by the way. Like, so many bands have done it. Like, even I interviewed the Grassroots, and none of them were the original members.
Well,
And I didn't know that
and
till the interview, and I'm like,
I mean,
that's really weird.
you know, I don't want to get too far into this, but I will say that the fact that Josey Scott wrote all those songs that everyone knows and associates to Saliva, and he can't go out and play under the name Saliva because of some legal bullshit, and the guys that are out there calling themselves Saliva weren't even on any of those records, those first 6 platinum albums.
That's weird to me.
It is just it's sad.
Yeah.
It's a sad thing because, you know, it'd be like somebody trying to call themselves Tesla that wasn't in Tesla.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like, that's all you have is the legacy you create for yourself. And, you know, you pour yourself into the heart and soul of your songs. And, you know, Josey did that. And whatever the case may be of that thing, I mean, I just think it's kind of sad that he can't go out and play under the name Saliva when he is the voice of Saliva, and he wrote Click, Click, Boom, always.
It's stupid.
Well, I'll let you say that.
Yeah, I'm gladly saying it. And I was just talking in the last interview, having nothing to do with this, but the fact of how, you know, how can an artist sing a song that isn't their emotions and what their thoughts and what they wrote?
Well, they do. They're called cover bands.
Yeah, exactly. You know, but you can't sing it. You can't sing it with the same heart.
Cover bands, I'm all for them. But if you're going to call yourself whatever band and you didn't write all those songs or create those records, then I you know, like John Lennon would say, how do you sleep?
Yeah. Yeah. You know, and I just think you can't possibly have the same emotion singing the song. And I think emotion, when you sing a song, is what makes the song.
It's the whole thing. Yeah. 100%.
It's your feelings. How could you describe in your facial expressions, movements, or singing what somebody else is feeling. That's the way I look at it.
100%.
Yeah, I know. Well, listen, getting back to, Chris's former band and Josey's, I can't even say former band. I don't know how to say it, but it's complicated. But whatever's happening right now, it's just not right for I mean, at least in Chris's band, Blackie Lawless was the singer of W.A.S.P. Blackie
Yeah.
Lawless wrote all the lyrics.
Yeah.
In Josey's situation, there's nobody in that band is from Saliva. They might have
That's
been
so
in an
weird to me.
incarnation, 15 years later. And if
Right.
Wayne was in that band, then I could see it. I could say, okay, I understand that.
It's
But,
kind of like when
I hope this doesn't piss off Bobby or whatever, but if it does, so fucking what? I don't care. I had a conversation with him and I said, listen, this isn't right. At this point, it's like, just, but it's a whole other thing. I'm sure, Blabbermouth will be all on this tomorrow.
they just might. They just might, because
And that's okay. I mean, listen, I'm only saying what's true.
it can't be much
I'm
worse.
not going to go out and say, hey, come and see me. I'm in Saliva. I wasn't in Saliva. I didn't play that. Right?
Well, I'm glad you're standing up for your bandmate
I'm
there.
standing by what I feel is right. Whether Josey was my friend or not, if I didn't know Josey, as a fan of Saliva, the band, and I will say this, and I don't care if it gets me in trouble because I don't give a fuck. As a fan of that band and Click Click Boom and Your Disease and Always and Ladies and Gentlemen, and when Josey sang Hero with Chad and all that, I go see, if I was to go see that band now, it'd be like me. I won't go see Foreigner today.
Yeah, that's weird too.
There's no one in
That's
fucking
weird
Foreigner from
too.
Foreigner. I'll go see Lou Gramm sing
Right?
those songs, but nobody in Foreigner is from Foreigner. Nobody. I don't think there's anybody from the Guess Who playing in the Guess Who.
I interviewed them too, and it's absolutely true.
He certainly wasn't in the fucking Guess Who. So
That's
I
absolutely true.
And
And
listen,
then,
I don't want to, this is about Terminal. I don't want to get up on a soapbox, but it is an injustice.
Well, it is, and now we have a great justice with Terminal.
Absolutely.
Because
yeah.
Because you guys are acting like true bandmates, and that's the way it should be.
Yeah,
100%.
we are. I mean, and we're writing some I think some really good music. And, Josey's singing his ass off, and he's throwing his A game out there lyrically. I mean, he blows me away. The guy comes in here and goes over in the corner over here right there, with his little earphones in his notepad, and an hour later he comes back with like this thing, and he's like, wow, dude, it's so inspiring. It's a lot of inspiration. We all inspire each other in the band, which is very cool.
100%.
I think that's amazing. That's the only way it should be. And that you inspire each other after all these years tells me how little ego gets in the way of this band.
Right.
There's no ego. What it's like, what are we going to be egoed out to each guy?
Exactly.
We've all had platinum records. We've all had sold out concerts. We all done the same thing. We relate to each other. What are we going to, hey man, my dick's bigger than yours. Who the fuck cares?
Yep. That's it. That's it.
There's no ego. No egos with any one of the five guys that are working in this room together.
And it's going to be a great album when it comes out. I'm so looking forward to this. You guys are going to kill it. And just because of the attitude, to me, I think that's part of the battle right there.
100%.
Thanks for having us, and thanks for allowing us to speak a little truth.
Yeah.
And I can't wait for you guys to hear it. I hope you like it. If you don't, there's nothing I can do about it. You know what I mean? And, But I hope you like it. We sure like it, and we've played it to some
And
people.
that's all
they
that
sure
counts.
Like it, so, and
it.
we're, bottom line, we're having a good time with each other.
That's all that counts to me. If you're having a good time and you like the music, you're going to attract your tribe that will like it too.
100%.
And I smell good, man, because Josey, he's got a whole collection of fragrances and shit, and he's been turning me on to it. And I'm man, Josey's a slick dude, man. Look at it, man. I love it, man. He's all styled up and shit. I'm in my hockey jersey. I love Josey. I love his whole energy. Man, he wore some badass Argyle socks the other day. I'm gonna have to up my game. Josey's gonna have to help me with my threads and shit.
What I want to know is, Josey, are you going to work on Chris?
Oh man, dude! As much as he'll allow me, I love Chris though. Chris has got his own thing, dude.
But that's funny, like that you say that, because Chris was the one. When we did a photo shoot, he was the one cracking the whip on us. Hey, man, you got to get in your stage clothes. Hey, man, you got to do this shit. Hey, man, you got to do that shit. Come on, man, we're late. Let's go. Right? And you wouldn't expect that from Chris. Right?
I know, right?
He was the one cracking the whip and shit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Well,
Chris is my boy.
Oh, man.
And him and Tommy together, seriously, they're like two cartoon characters, those two together. I call them the Guitar Army.
Oh, man, that's good stuff.
Because they both just like, woo! And you just go, wow, man, that's fucking cool.
Right?
And they're very comical, the two of them. They're like, I don't know.
Well, Chris has always been totally entertaining, for sure.
Oh, yeah. All right, man. Anything else you want to rap about?
That's it, man. Let's, just have everybody check out you guys and wait for them new music. And, man, it's going to be good, and people are going to love it. And thanks for being on the Adventures of Pipeman.
Thank you for having us, brother.
My pleasure.
Louder Than Life, North America's loudest rock and metal festival, returns to Louisville this September with My Chemical Romance, Iron Maiden, Tool, Limp Bizkit, plus Pantera, Pierce the Veil, Gojira, Papa Roach, and more. Nearly 200 bands across 7 stages. Louder Than Life at the Kentucky Expo Center, September 17th through 20th. Passes are on sale now, starting at only $1 down at louderthanlifefestival.com. Aftershock, the West Coast's largest rock, metal, and punk festival, returns to Sacramento this October with My Chemical Romance, Tool, Limp Bizkit, Pierce the Veil, plus Suicide Boys, Queens of the Stone Age, The Offspring, A Day to Remember, Wu-Tang Clan, and more. Aftershock, October 1st through 4th. Passes are on sale now, starting at only $1 down at aftershockfestival.com.
Hi, you're listening to The Adventures of Pipeman on W.A.S.P Radio.
To the party, like a firecracker ready to blow. Head top back, ass was fat, putting on a show. You're the hot little mama, look at the fun.
This is the Pipeman here on the Adventures of Pipeman, W4CY Radio, and I'm here with our next guest who has some killer new music that is perfect for somebody here that lives in Florida, because we got spring break going on. And so let's welcome to the show Austin from Gunshine. How are you?
Hey, good, man. Appreciate you having me.
Hey, glad to have you. And you guys are on the road right now. Where are you at right now?
Right now, we are in kind of near Cincinnati. We just played last night at this venue called the Blue Note, and it was awesome, man. It was a packed house, and a bunch of people bought merch, and people out there singing every single lyric. So yeah, it was fun, man. We're out here doing the thing.
I love that. I've heard of that venue too. That's like an iconic venue. So that's cool.
Yeah, I think they just had Jackal. They got George Lynch coming in, I think, tomorrow night. So yeah, it was a cool spot.
All right, so you guys have this new single, and no pun intended, single looks good on you. What a great, not only spring break party song, but also it gave me flashbacks of the 80s, and flashbacks from the music perspective, not necessarily the scene, but just that kind of party fun music that we need right now.
Yeah, man, it's all in there. All those vibes are in there. And when we first started the band, it's funny, when Jordan first came over, when I was auditioning singers, he was like, well, what are you kind of going for? And I'm like, man, it's like, think about, Van Halen. It makes you want to party and have a good time. And especially, I started the band basically on the heels of COVID. So there's a lot of dark, depressing kind of times at that time. And I was like, man, I just want to have a sound and a vibe that makes you want to, have a good time, party, kind of get your mind off all the stress going on in the world and stuff. So, that's another song like that. It's spring break party anthem, and definitely got the Florida vibes in there. A little, we don't really call it country, more like swamp rock, which is, it's got some of the hairband vibes, but with a little bit more grit, kind of nastier, sound blended in there.
And I also believe more musicianship than the Sunset Strip hair metal bands. Like, to me, it's got that party vibe, but it's also got the killer musicianship. So it's not like a gimmick. You're a true musician.
Oh, thanks, man. So my thing was always like, again, to kind of reference Van Halen a little bit. I know Nuno from Extreme talks about this too, but when you take having a catchy like pop rock kind of song with a big chorus and everything, but then doing these little things in between that, like when you peel back the layers and under the covers where you're kind of doing doing flashy stuff on the guitar or whatever, as long as it fits the song. But, it's not so much like, oh, just strum chords and then guitar solo and whatever. Like if you listen to Van Halen or something, there's all these little Easter eggs throughout the song. So
yeah,
kind of inspired by stuff like that, where it's like, like I said, when you peel back the layers, there's a lot to it, but it's still a palatable, catchy, pop rock and roll song.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about what happened during COVID that made you want to start this project. We know the obvious of what happened, but what happened for you personally that created this creativity?
Yeah, so I've always been really into the creation of music and writing songs. I've always heard ideas and stuff in my head, and always kind of had the vision to sort of start my own thing. And it takes so many years and time to find the right pieces to kind of get that off the ground. Because I was really looking for an X Factor type voice, someone that love them or hate them, that it's us as soon as you hear us come on. So I was really trying to find that, which that's not an easy thing to find. So that takes years. So I had a really high standard of what I was trying to create and the sound that was in my head. So in the meantime, I was going to music school out in Hollywood in Musicians Institute out there in California. And when I graduated, I got the opportunity to tour with a band called New Year's Day. And we did arena tours with Hailstorm and In This Moment, Godsmack. And that was awesome. But, when the world shut down with the COVID thing, we were on tour with New Year's Day. And we flew home from Germany 2 days before everything shut down.
Wow.
And, but, the silver lining and everything was it kind of brought all the touring to a halt and allowed me to really, reflect and kind of get this whole thing off the ground. And sure enough, when I went back to Florida, someone said, hey, you should try this guy. He plays in the local dueling piano bar, and I think he would sound great for what you're trying to do. So, and of course, I had tried singers in LA. I tried singers all over the country. But, of course, I go back home to Florida and, kind of a small town in Pensacola, and that's where I find Jordan. So it's just kind of crazy how it all happened.
That is pretty cool. And, I love your story because I said after and during COVID that the blessing of COVID was it would give musicians the chance to jump off the hamster wheel and actually be able to create again, because it got so busy that you never really had a chance to get creative like you may have when you first started in music. And it's almost like going back to that when it was fresh and new and exciting.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there was something about, that time. It's like, you couldn't really, people weren't touring. So it's like there was a lot of people writing and stuff like that. But it was, I think in another way, it was kind of hard for some people to be inspired because of all the, the madness going on in the world and stuff. So
totally.
It was almost, it was kind of a little bit of both. But for me, this was kind of a thing that I'd wanted to start for so many years. So I had all these ideas saved, and I would actually work on demos that became the first album for Gunshine while I was on tour with New Year's Day. I would go in the green room and kind of record stuff. I didn't want to just wait around until I found all the right pieces. So I was actively putting things together even before the band started.
I love that. And so how have you felt the experience has been with Gunshine? Is it everything that you were thinking it would be, or is it more?
Oh man, it's been going absolutely killer. We just played last night. Like I said, to see people singing the lyrics and stuff back to us, it's a whole
That's
crazy
wild.
experience. Yeah, because that's kind of what I always sort of dreamed of, and I love songwriting, and it's just really cool to the rate that it's gone in just a few years is super humbling. So yeah, man, I would say it's going great, and everything that I was trying to do, everything I wanted, but we're just trying to keep raising the bar and pushing forward even more from here. So,
and speaking of the 80s, what does it feel like when you get kudos from guys like Joe Elliott and Stephen Pearcy?
Yeah, that's another like surreal moment, man. It's just crazy. Like you grow up on music like that. And I always say I was born in the wrong decade. So I love, Def Leppard and Rat and everything like that. So, it just is further, I guess, whatever you want to say, validation or confirmation or whatever it is that yeah, we're onto something, and that the sound that was, that was kind of circulating for us is something that resonates with people. So, and especially guys like that you really respect, it means a lot.
Yeah, like for a guy like Joe Elliott to sit there and say, he could have just said, oh, it was good music, but he's like, wow, was I thoroughly entertained by this record? It's fantastic. Like those adjectives that say a lot. And then to compare you to early GNR and maybe even Buck Cherry, that's pretty wild.
Yeah, I know, man. It's crazy. Like, and like I said, those, Def Leppard is a big part of the sound, all the melodies and how Mutt Lange was kind of producing everything. He's a big influence for me as well. So, yeah, man, wild. It would be cool if we got a tour with Def Leppard at some point.
There it is. You could have like a tour. It would be Rat, Def Leppard, and you guys.
There you go. I'm all about it.
And then you could get Steven and Joe to come up and perform a song with you guys.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. We'll speak it into existence.
There you go. So what else you got going on for the rest of 2026 that the listeners have to look out for?
Yeah, we're just busy touring, man. We're going to be, we have the new record Grand Rising, and we're super pumped about it. It's all over the place in the best of ways. We got a couple ballads, we have an acoustic song, we have heavier songs, we have some stuff that kind of nods back to the first album a little bit. The last song on the record is called Table Dancing, and it's 8 minutes long, and it's like 5 songs in one. There's like a Frank Sinatra section and a 70s disco section. So we had a ton of fun making this album. So the thing this year is just we're sort of touring and getting this album out there.
Nice. And I love that you have all different types of kind of, lack of a better thing to put it, like genres within your music, because that's what I think makes it today, is the blending of a bunch of, I think metal and rock in general has gotten so like finite with the subgenres and the micro genres that it's so refreshing to me, a band like yours that can just mix things up and just play whatever you feel instead of going by some script or some formula.
Exactly. That's one of the biggest parts when I started this band, was like making sure that it was always done that way and just writing whatever comes out. And I just love music. So there's all kinds, my dad used to play like a Beach Boys CD in the car, or like Casey and the Sunshine Band. And then, my sister and I are 90s kids. So we were hearing some of the pop stuff that was coming out at the time, and just, hard rock and metal, and you can blend all that stuff. And that's what's cool about it, is like, to me, I get bored if it's just one thing, but it's like, what makes it cool for me is like, well, what if we took like, the edginess of this, but combined it with the melody of that. And then, just, I don't know, man, that's what makes it fun.
Yeah, I think Ollie from Bring Me the Horizon said it best when they were giving him a lot of crap for like doing all different types of music now. And he's like, why do I want to write the same song over and over again? And I think about them like any artist that's been doing it for a while, that would get like drudgery instead of fun if you're doing the same thing you did all through the years.
Totally. And that's the biggest thing is like, the first album came out, and again, it was years of work, even before the band started. So you're talking some of these riffs may have been from around 10 years ago. And then, you grow as a person, you grow as an artist, and you're inspired by different things as the years go on. So as we keep putting out more music, because we have that mindset of just writing whatever comes out, things are going to sound different, and that's the way I always wanted to do things. And, as opposed to maybe like an AC/DC where every album's going to sound similar, they do it so well. They have their sound and they do that so well. But for me, it's like, it's more fun when you kind of keep mixing it up and yeah, like I said, so that's what makes it fun for me.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the way I am. Like, if people were to describe me, they might think I'm like schizophrenic because I got so many like different parts of my personality and likes and stuff like that. And I think that's what makes it interesting, fun, and gives us the great music, because you're being authentic to yourself. So when you're authentic, we can read that.
Totally. Yep. 100%. I've always thought that too. And the audience is smart, and they can pick up on if you're not being authentic, and if you're just phoning it in or trying to create a sound because it's something you think is going to sell and all this. It's that takes all the fun away from it. So, but if you're having fun and you're creating, and you're laughing while you're writing because something you think is so good or whatever, whatever it may be, but if you have that feeling, it's usually other people resonate too.
Nice. So tell everybody how they can connect to you guys on socials, how they can reach your merch store, because that's most important to me. They can't listen to my show unless they buy your merch. It's the only way you get to the next town.
I appreciate you, man. So gunshineband.com is the website, and then if you type in Gunshine across Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, you'll find us. But I think it's Gunshine Band on Instagram as well. So, and you'll find the merch. It's in the if you go to the website and just click merch, you'll find it. It's in all of our social media bios. You'll see the link, and you can click and find it from there.
Cool. Any final words you want to leave our listeners with that we haven't covered already?
Nah, man, just appreciate everyone's support so much. And it's just the beginning, man. We're just getting started. So check out the new songs, check out the new record, Grand Rising. Like I said, we're really proud of it. So yeah, man, I just really appreciate everyone for listening.
Well, nice. Well, we love your new music, and you keep rocking on across the country, giving it to us.
Yeah, man. Thanks again.
Thanks for being on the Adventures of Pipeman.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.